So we are going to start off with, everyone can, like, someone would tell me if you're not seeing my screen, correct? Okay, I'm gonna bet that you guys can see it. Okay, so we're gonna do kind of a session with myself. So what is university transfer, our road options, what's next, those kinds of things. I'm going to talk a little bit about the services, and then we'll do a quick little wrap up and a survey. So I'm going to start off with a little get to know you. So this is just a reminder that if you're just joining us, please check in. If using the QR code or in the chat, there is the option to fill, I have the link for the form there as well. If you've already filled it out, please don't feel like you have to. So in I think the top for you guys as well, because that's where mine is. If not, it'll be at the bottom. But I'm going to do a poll, but I'm also just going to do a raise your virtual hand. So everyone should be able to see the reactions. It's like a little happy face with the hand up. If you hover over it, there's an option to raise your hand. You can give me a thumbs up, whatever you want. But I'm just curious, how many of you have had a sibling attend Lakeland College? And it doesn't have to be university transfer, it can be any program. So just raising that virtual hand. So we've got a couple. Anyone had a sibling do the UT program specifically or university transfer? We've got a couple again. Awesome. Anyone have a parent, grandparent attend a Lakeland College program? Ooh, we got one alumni. Anyone have their, oh, we got a couple. Anyone have guardians, like parents, guardians or whatever joining you tonight, or is everyone fairly solo at the moment? Got a couple people. Awesome. So welcome to the parents as well. Next, I'm just going to launch a couple of quick polls, just to get you a feel for kind of what class might be. So these are completely anonymous, but I'm just asking you, what is your favorite holiday? So if everyone would want to select that. Christmas is winning so far. New Year's and Thanksgiving have a few. No one is super pumped about the upcoming Easter holiday so far. And then I've got one more and then we'll get going. So how far away do you live? 10, less than 10K, you're pretty much probably in the city of Lloyd. 11 to 50, you're probably Lashburn, Kitscoty, Marwayne. 51 to 6 or 100, you're closer to Vermilion, Maidstone, those ones. And then obviously anyone over 100 kilometers. So for those of you over 100 kilometers, whether you want to unmute yourselves and let me know where you're from, or if you'd rather put it in the chat box, just curious, essentially where you might be joining us from. And maybe we can see who might have won. Last year, I had someone come from Ontario. So they were the winners for the furthest. So I don't know if we have anyone. Sherwood Park, Provost, Calgary. Awesome. Calgary's winning, I think. Ooh, Indian Head. Okay, actually now this is going to test my kilometer knowledge. PA, Saskatoon, outside Lethbridge, Provost, Meadow Lake. Is Hepburn in Alberta or Saskatchewan? Sorry. I know all the other ones. Saskatchewan, thank you. North of St. Paul, like Maleg, Ashmont area. I know Alberta pretty good. Awesome. So I will have a quick little one of these a little bit later too. But essentially, let's get into the nitty gritty, which is what you guys are essentially here for. So essentially, university transfer allows you to begin your degree here at the college. It is university transfer, so that does mean that you are taking university level classes. You are just doing them at a college. There's no guaranteed admission, so you do need to meet their requirements. I will do my best to ensure that you're taking the classes that are prerequisites for the program route that you're choosing, but you also need to make sure that you're applying on time. You need to make sure that you're getting all your documents submitted, your transcripts, all of that. And then your GPA, right? So there are programs that are more competitive, where you're going to need a higher GPA to get into. Nursing is competitive. Any of your professional programs, vet, dentistry, anything like that. So just making sure that you're also meeting those GPA requirements. So these are kind of our subject areas. So we do have education, fine arts, humanities, math and statistics, sciences, physical education, social sciences, and we have our new Cree language. So that just started this year. So that was the first year that we've offered language in a while. I think it had been early 2000s when we had last had a second language here, and that was French. So for education, those ones are generally based for my U of A bound students, but USask can take a couple of them. Fine arts, we got music and drama. Humanities are English and history. Math and statistics, we've got both calculus and statistics, as well as an education math that all my elementary ed students generally do, whether they're going U of A or USask. For sciences, I've got bio, earth sciences, chemistry, physics, nutrition, anatomy, and physiology. And then for physical education, we've got some PEDS classes, health ed, and we've got two new PAC classes, physical activity classes, that I'm going to talk about a little bit later. And for social sciences, we have Native Studies, Soc, and Psychology. So for the route length, in Alberta, these are just the Alberta ones. The next slide talks about Saskatchewan. So this is just a general idea of how long you will likely stay, depending on the route that you choose. So medical laboratory science used to be 1 year. They changed around their requirements where they now want biology 107 and 207. And just with our current sequencing and how it works for our professors, we're just not able to make that work. So it has now become like a 2-year route. And so you'll often just take some like backup classes and or really focus on boosting up that GPA. U of A Pharmacy, 1 or 2 years ago, added in 6 credits of human physiology. We do have our anatomy and physiology class, but it does not transfer to the University of Alberta. It's just not the right, it's not the right anatomy and physiology for what they're wanting for that pharmacy degree. So you will only do 1 year with us, and then you would transfer to U of A, or you could even go McEwen or something, and complete your remaining 30 credits in order to gain admission into the pharmacy program. For U of C, generally for years, the only options we've had for them is a veterinary medicine and social work, and that was because the majority of our classes transferred as unspecified credit. So that meant that they transferred, but when it came to like our biologies, instead of them being a direct transfer, where our Bio 107 was equal to their equivalent to our 107, it was unspecified. We did a bunch of work this year, and it was a great thanks to their education director that actually got a lot of this done. And so most of our classes now transfer as specified, which then means that hopefully I will be able to expand this chart to include arts, science, and then education. So that's allowing us to go even more into Calgary, which isn't a huge pull for the majority of my students, but it's definitely becoming more and more popular. So education is our big one right now. So we have a new collaboration with the Lakeland Education at University of Calgary, where students can do a community-based education program with us. You'll take 57 non-education credits with us, and you do 63 education credits with them. And so the credits that you're doing with them are pretty much all online, besides the kind of residency 2 weeks that you go in July. And so you go to Calgary for 2 weeks in July, 2 to 3 times throughout your time with them / us. And then the other time is spent mainly with us and or online. And so they do 4 practicums in Calgary. And so each semester that you're doing education credits with them, you are doing a practicum, which is kind of neat. So you would have had to have applied by March 1st to start this program in September, but you can definitely do kind of 1 year of non-education credits and then kind of do years 2, 3, and 4 as a U of C student. So yeah, there is an on-campus version. If you don't want to do community-based, that is totally fine. We'll chat about that as well. And I will have those program plans ready for when we meet. And I will be providing you with a website as well a little bit later that will go more into depth about those program plans. So let's talk Saskatchewan. So for education, we do generally only do 1 year for both elementary and secondary going to the University of Saskatchewan. It's just they've added in some education courses we don't have the right equivalents to, so you are best to transfer after your first year. Dentistry and pharmacy require 3 credits of metabolism biochemistry, which we do not have the equivalent to, so you do 2 of your 3 years required for dentistry with us, and you can do 1 of your 2 years for pharmacy. And then U of R social work, if anyone is doing social work and wanting to go to Regina, you can do, we're missing 2 classes essentially for their like kind of pre-social work, and that's Indigenous 100 and Social Work 100. We do have Native Studies courses, but ours transfer is 200 level and they're looking for that 100 level. But you can do them online if you choose. If you are thinking of that, I definitely recommend looking into it sooner because their courses on these online courses do fill up fast. USAS Nursing, we have a great agreement with them. So we usually have about 30 students going through that program. We don't know the exact rate or success rate, I guess, of those students. But with the students that come back to me, I'd say about a handful usually come back, and it's usually poor GPA. So their GPA just wasn't quite there. So you have the opportunity to boost that GPA and apply the next year. So reminder for USAC Vet, Alberta students used to be able to go to USAC. That's no longer an option with the equity seats, but there are non-IPA seats that students can transfer into, but just note that you pay international fees. So it is pricey. So new and exciting things. So ATEP isn't really new. We just started our first year 3 cohort here in 2020. We just met with them this afternoon. It was really good to see their faces. We'd kind of been with them for the full 2 years, and then they are still here, but they're U of A students instead. We have our second cohort starting of what we call pre-ATEP, so taking the 60 credits required to enter into the ATEP program here started this fall, and they will begin year 3 in 2022. We are looking at secondary education, and we will likely keep ATEP for the next foreseeable future. So if you are hoping to do ATEP, I would love to see this happen again in 2024. So your option is to spread it out. So if you're starting next year, we could spread it out over 3 years, or you can do a degree and enter the program as an after degree. We do have an agreement with Athabasca, so if you're looking to do arts or science and you end up loving it here or want to stay closer to home, you can do arts or science degrees through a collaboration between us and them. You do need to do at least 10 classes online through them. So just something to keep in mind is that it does require some online. It doesn't all have to be in your last year or anything like that. We can definitely spread it out so that you're not just doing solely online. We have a class called Excel 100. It's essentially a transitional course. We often recommend it if you end up on probation after first semester. We're recommending that you take it in second semester. It's maybe if you just have taken some time off, maybe your school wasn't your strongest suit, maybe you're just looking for some extra help for that. It's a great course to take, so it'll be offered in both semesters. Essentially, you're looking at academics, culture, community, and career. So you're doing some research into different careers, especially if you're maybe a little undecided, and then looking at academics. So talking about time management and not procrastinating, things like that. Native Studies 171 is the Cree class that I talked about earlier. So it is a 6-credit full year course. And then we've got those new PAC options, which are the physical activity classes. So the first one is a volleyball one. So we had it many years ago, but they were 1.5 credits. So you had to do 2 of them, or 2 physical activity classes to get the full 3 credits. U of A's changed that, and so now they are a full 3 credits. I'm still waiting on confirmation as to where they will all transfer, but hopefully get that in. It is modeled after U of A's, but we should have transfer credit for a bunch of different institutions. And then the other one is called Applied Resistance Training. And so you're looking at implementing the fundamental principles associated with various resistance training methodologies. And so both of these are kind of courses that we're starting to offer just for our education students, but also for future of hoping to have a year or 2 of kinesiology. So kind of working our way that way to expand into more majors. So, career information. I always recommend the university websites. My go-to is their academic calendars. They kind of tell you what classes you're going to take, all that kind of stuff. If you're a little bit undecided, I always suggest doing some job shadowing or volunteering, talking to employers, students, professors, all of that. Just hearing firsthand about their daily job, things like that can help you decide what your future might look like. A great website that I like to use is the ALICE website. It is Alberta-based, so if you are from Saskatchewan, the outlooks and stuff like that are Alberta-based. For the most part, they really only list the Alberta institutions, but it does give you occupational profiles that you can go through and decide if you're wanting to do social work. It'll give you career outcomes, it gives you salary, it gives you where you can do your education, all that kind of stuff. So it's one of my top ones. It's a juggle.ca is also a really good one to check out. So I will be posting in the chat. I will be uploading some documents. So one will be the useful websites. I have just a general handout. So if any of you are, I should have said this earlier, if any of you are scrambling to write everything that I'm saying, I actually have a little cheat sheet for you guys. And then as well as some specifics to the professional sciences. So just outcome GPAs and stuff like that. So I will send that at the end of the session here. So you will be provided this website when we essentially want to email you guys to select classes. So if you have paid your tuition deposit and you've applied, obviously you have to apply first, then you pay your tuition deposit, you will be sent an email by me sometime in May saying, hey, welcome to UT, let's pick your classes. And so you'll be sent this website. You'll also be sent a booking link. You're more than welcome to check out this website now. Nothing is updated for next year. It's all my last year stuff, timetable, etc. So please don't get too excited about where classes are scheduled or anything like that. That's likely going to change a little bit. I still need to update all my program plans. I need to add in the U of C ones, all that kind of stuff. So I will be doing all of that and updating it as kind of I get through those. So again, take everything with a grain of salt, but you are more than welcome to head to that website. I think that's it for that one. So the other thing that I started this year was my virtual office. I'm not going to send you the link right now, but this is essentially what I've been using to essentially kind of be a one-stop shop. So because we have been more online this year, I'm not getting to see students every day, things like that. I created this to kind of, like I said, one-stop shop. So I link any resources that I have. So like there's some great ones from the Commons that I've put there. I have a frequently asked question page, where to find my letter of enrollment. I can't log on to Teams. How do I get in, stuff like that, and then as well as my link to book an appointment. And so you will get access to that when you select your classes as well. So I'll actually send you the link. So transfer. So essentially, when you're transferring, it's a movement of a student from post-secondary institution to post-secondary institution. So from Lakeland College to the University of Alberta, or from Lakeland College to the University of Saskatchewan. Transfer credit is the credit received for the successful completion of prior post-secondary studies. So most courses are 3 or 6 credits. I do my best to ensure that your transfer credit is received. If you change your mind, let's say you're in education, and you take Health Ed 110 because it's a required class for education, and then you decide to go into a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology, and you're going to the University of Saskatchewan. that health ed is not going to transfer to USask for arts. They don't want our health ed, PEDS, or education classes. So it would transfer if you went into education. It would transfer if you did pharmacy. It's just the arts and science program that doesn't accept our health ed. Okay, so there are things that I can't always guarantee or I can't predict, but I will try my best to ensure that the classes that you're picking do transfer. So we talk about the sending institution, receiving institution. So we are the sending institution in this case. And the receiving institution, for example, could be the University of Alberta, it could be the USask, MacEwan, Calgary, all those. And so I alluded a little bit to the specified and unspecified. So specific credit is that we have the exact equivalent, or at least almost fully exact equivalent. Unspecified means that it still transfers, but there's not a specific match. So an example is our SOC 282 Race and Ethnic Relation course transfers as 200 level unspecified SOC credit at the University of Alberta. So we do have the Alberta Transfer Guide. So if you're transferring from us to any Alberta institution, that is a great place to start. Not everything is fully correct. So oftentimes I'll have more knowledge. So for example, not everything is fixed in the U of C quite yet. So if you are seeing something that's not transferring, you can definitely follow up with me and just make sure. They only have one lady doing transfer credit for all of the University of Calgary, so it can sometimes take a little bit. The University of Regina has joined the Alberta Transfer Guide, so they have some of their stuff in process there. I don't have a ton of agreements in there yet, but that is definitely something that I'll look at. So for USask, UVAR, and U of M, they have equivalency charts on their website, which is what we use. So in the meantime, until we kind of get U of R fully into the Alberta Transfer Guide, that's essentially what I use. So reasons courses may not transfer. Grades. You need at least a C or higher for the most part for your classes to transfer to an institution. Obviously, if you're going into a really competitive program, pharmacy, vet, those kinds of things, a C is probably not going to get you in. You're going to be needing like a 3.5 or higher. I kind of alluded to this as well, changing your desired route. So I talked about switching from education to arts and how that might affect you to Saskatchewan. Program requirements. So you have to watch how many junior level courses you take. You have to look at course choices. So again, talking about we don't want to do health ed, education, PEDS classes if you're planning to go into arts or science at the University of Saskatchewan. And then the university requirements. You want to make sure that you're hitting their residency requirement. Most of the time you need to take at least 50% of the degree with them. So that is why we generally only transfer up to 60 credits or up to 2 years. Athabasca is a little bit different. They only require 30 credits, and the U of L BA BEd is even more different. So if anyone is interested in that, we can definitely chat. Competitive admission, high school requirements, you need to make sure that if you are needing to do biology 107, you need to make sure that you have both biology and chemistry 30. Shelf life, so for example, myself, I did post-secondary a number of years ago. Not all of my courses will end up kind of fitting into another degree route because it's just been too long. So again, unless you're a mature student, you don't have to worry too much about that. Error in applications, you want to make sure that you're meeting deadlines. You want to make sure you're actually filling out the application, all that kind of stuff. And then quotas. So if you're applying as an international student or out of province, there's not an unlimited amount of seats for that. So just watching and making sure that you fit. So we're going to do another couple of polls. Just take a little quick break. So I'm going to start with the polls this time. So I've got 2 more for you guys, and then I have another raise hand as well. So if you had to choose, would you pick Netflix or Amazon Prime? Okay, so Netflix is winning. I think that's a really tough choice personally. I think I like both quite a bit. And then your next one, do you prefer summer or winter? Okay, so for the most part, we're all loving summer. Oh, we got a few more winters now. So some of us are getting super pumped about the nice weather and looking forward to summer, and some are sad that winter is leaving. I mean, I won't count that it has left yet. It is March, and we do live in the prairies for the most part. Most of us do. So winter will likely happen. Again, I like to think it won't, but I don't think that's going to happen. Okay, so again, raising your virtual hand or thumbs up or whatever. Do I have anyone coming to play for one of our wrestler teams? Ooh, I do have a few. Awesome. If you want to share what teams, that would be awesome. Just, again, curiosity. Do I have anyone that is the first person who will be attending post-secondary school for your family? Sure, you could definitely put your hand up for sure, Isaac, even if you hope to. We'll count that in. Anyone a first-time post-secondary for your family? We do have a few. Awesome. And hands up if you plan on living on campus. Ooh, lots there. Perfect. So if you weren't able to attend the student session, or if your parents weren't able to attend the parent session earlier today, I am going to chat a little bit about the services as well. So let's move on. Application prerequisites. Essentially, we are a first come, first served institution. For the most part, my program is for sure. So that means if you meet our admission requirements, you will be accepted. So all programs, no matter which one you're doing, require English 30-1 or English A30 and B30 for my SASC students. If you do not meet that requirement, that is okay. You can test for English, and it's a free test. There's modules that you can go through if you want to do like a little refresher or anything like that. But if it's any other subject and you're missing that prereq, you will need to upgrade or pick a new route. You can still be admitted. So let's say you're wanting to do elementary education, you're missing that math, that's fine. What we'll end up doing is kind of leaving the math portion of your requirement until you have that. So you can still be admitted, you'll just probably be put into undecided or arts or something that doesn't require it. When you meet with me, you can let me know, and I will make sure that we're still picking classes that fit elementary education, but also that you fulfill the requirements for. So elementary ed, you need Math 30-2 at least, or Foundations Math 30. If you have -1, Calculus, or Pre-Calc, you are good. For science, we do require the Pre-Calc or -1, and then both Chemistry and Biology 30. It's really good to have Physics 30 as well. University of Saskatchewan loves to throw in physics into their requirements. So for example, I think it's their psychology does require physics. So just something to keep in mind. Dentistry, pharmacy, vet to the University of Saskatchewan. No, sorry. Yeah. Requires physics. So just something to just keep in mind. USAS nursing, you need at least Foundations or 30-2, and then Chem and Bio 30. The Foundations, again, if you, same as like with elementary education, if you have Pre-Calc or -1, that's fine. And then Commerce, you're also going to need Pre-Calculus or 30-1. Especially if you're going U of A. If you are planning to do USask or MacEwan, you can get away with 30-2 or Foundations. Admissions is going to flag you. If you are doing Commerce, they will then reach out, ask you where you're kind of planning to go. If you say U of A, they're going to say you need that -1. If you say MacEwan or USask, they'll probably reach out to me, and I will confirm with them that you are okay. So the pre-req for high school, this is small. So when you get the handout, I have it on there as well. But this just kind of shows some of the classes that you will need. So if you're doing 107, which is all my nurses have to do, you need that Chem and Bio, which is why that's a required class. Biology 108 just needs the Bio 30. Chemistry just needs the Chem 30. Calculus, which is that 113, requires that -1 or Pre-Calc. Physics requires Physics 30 and the Pre-Calculus, which again, if you're doing any kind of science, you're going to need that -1 anyway. Stats and Math 160 require that -2 or Foundation. So Math 160 is mainly for my education students. Statistics is nursing, education, a bunch of different programs. So if you are missing a high school prereq, that is fine. You can still attend university transfer. If you're going to be upgrading during that semester, what we'll do is you'll probably take a maximum of 3 university transfer classes with us, and then take that upgrading course. So 3 still means that you're considered a full-time student. And so there's lots of upgrading options. So you can go back to your local high school as long as you're under 21. There's Alberta Distance Learning, SunWest, Norquest and Bow Valley have upgrading. We have an adult 12 program through Lakeland. It's generally best if you're a Saskatchewan student. Sorry, Alberta. You can get in with Alberta. It's just a little bit trickier and stuff like that. So first year similarities. If you're kind of doing social work, sciences, arts, elementary education, these are kind of the common courses that you will often take. So green, English, Psych, Soc are pretty much almost always done. Red obviously is a little bit different. I mean, I've had social work students take math, but most choose not to, things like that. But you can just kind of see that there is some flexibility with similarities and all that. If you're doing psychology and doing the arts route, something to keep in mind is that even though we're not asking in the arts route for you to have a math, it is required. So when you actually transfer, so something to look into. So U of A for psychology and economics requires 30-1 or pre-calculus 30. If you're doing vet med or something along those lines for like sciences, we're looking at backup plans as well. The chances of getting in to dentistry, pharmacy, vet after your pre-professional kind of year is fairly slim. Oftentimes students need to do more education or even get the full degree before they're admitted. So just something to keep in mind as we're picking classes. Secondary education and commerce are a lot more unique. So there can be similarities with secondary education, obviously, if you're like doing sciences as your teaching area or major and stuff like that, but it can be a little bit different. And then commerce, essentially throughout all three, so USask, MacEwan, and U of A all have very different views of commerce and what they want that first year to look like. So it can be really hard to, you kind of have to pick one, essentially. So the next steps, you want to consider what you learned today. You want to be checking your email. So we do email you. Mine is the most important, in my opinion, because I'm going to email you guys and tell you when you guys can book an appointment. Okay, so that'll come sometime in May. My returning students get first dibs at the timetable. So I usually meet with them for about a month, and then I open it up to new students. And I will meet with you guys all summer. So I really don't start waitlisting in classes until generally mid-July. And you should, I did start a little bit earlier last year, but anyone that did pick in that early July to mid-July pretty much got into the class that they were waitlisting for. It's the August that generally gets a little bit tighter. But as long as you're picking May, June, and like I said, even into July, you are good. You want to be submitting your official high school transcripts. So making sure if you are in Alberta, so if you go to school in Alberta, Lloyd, Comp, and Holy students do not count because you're actually Saskatchewan curriculum. But anyone, Kitscoty, Marwayne, Paradise Valley, and West, and then North and South, I guess, obviously, you guys, we can pull your official high school transcripts off of Apply Alberta. So you won't actually have to submit those. But if you are from Saskatchewan, you will have to submit your high school transcripts. I know in the past, Comp and Holy have often sent over the batches for any students, so you can definitely chat with your counselors to see if they're still doing that. And then you need to pay your tuition deposit. If you want to meet with me, that tuition deposit needs to be paid. So you can do it online through e-transfer. You just need to make sure that you are using your 9-digit student ID number to essentially pay that. You can pay by credit card, and then you can do check or money order sent in the mail as well. So through your email, mine's going to be the most important coming through in the next little bit. That's booking the appointment. But then I will also be reaching out to you guys about early bird, registration orientation day, stuff like that. And then you'll also get emails about My Lakeland, which is the portal where you can actually pay your fees through. Once you're kind of more a student, you can, so that would be more your tuition fees. change personal information. That's how you're going to get your grades at the end of each semester, those kinds of things. So let's chat about services. So let's start with residence. There was quite a few people interested in residence. You are maybe a 5-minute walk from the college, and that is the furthest possible dorm would be 5 minutes. Otherwise, you're probably like a couple of minutes. You do not have to, okay, this is my number one hate. I hate starting my vehicle in the winter and scraping it off. So if you're like me, just being able to roll out of bed and head to the college instead of worrying about starting your vehicle, especially when it's -40, it's actually kind of nice. We do have up to 8 students in a dorm, but generally it ends up being around 6 to 8 in a normal kind of non-COVID year. This year there was a maximum of 4 students in a dorm. You do share kitchen and living room, and then there's 2 bathrooms. So for this year, you only had to share a bathroom with 2 people, and then obviously up to 3 or 4 in a non-COVID year. Everyone has their own private room, which is awesome. Vermilion isn't set up like that. They have shared dorm or shared rooms, but in a non-COVID year. So that's kind of the bonus to Lloydminster. Plus it's all-inclusive living. So everything is included. Wi-Fi. Sorry, I'm talking too much. Wi-Fi, free laundry. Okay, let's try that. All-inclusive living. Oh, sorry, I already said that. It's a quick walk to Bud Miller. So there's walking running paths. The pool's there. Ice skating in the winter. Plus, you do lots of exclusive residence events. For the Students Association, they host a lot of events throughout the year. This year they did most of them virtually, so they did, Kahoot games, like trivia nights. They did, that's all I can think of at the moment off the top of my head. They also do the health and dental plan. You can opt out if your guardian is can cover you, but otherwise it's actually a really good deal. I think it's like less than $300 for the whole year. And you get covered fully for health and dental for the full year, not the school year, the full year. So it starts in August and it ends in the following August. We have security on campus 24/7. If you're a little bit of a wimp like I am in the dark, they are able to walk you to your dorms or your vehicle if you are staying late to work. Again, if you're working alone in one of our lounges or somewhere on the campus, you can ask them to maybe come in and check in on you a little bit more frequently, things like that. We do have financial aid. So they are available to walk you through the application process if you're looking for student loans. They do all of our award scholarships and bursaries. If you are sometime here in March, you should be getting an email or letter talking about entrance scholarships. So you need to apply for those by May 1st. And then athletics. So we do, a lot of you said that you were coming for athletics. So we have men and women's basketball, volleyball, soccer, and futsal on our campus. Curling and cross country rotate between the campuses. And then we also have rodeo and rowing on the Vermilion campus. You are more than welcome to be on the rodeo team, the rowing team, do the rodeo club, things like that. Even if you are living here in Lloydminster, our campuses are 40 minutes apart, but you are more than welcome to do anything on the Vermilion campus. So you can pay for a fob, and I think it was $5 last I heard, or maybe 10, and you can have free access to the pool and the service sports center if you're a full-time student. So the pool is what I was talking about in Bud Miller, and then the service sports center is just a 5-minute drive away. And so that gives a walking track as well as a full service gym, because our gym here on campus is fairly small. And by fairly, I mean very. And it's often full with our school teams as well. So that service sports center is just kind of a nice bonus. Most of our clubs are on the Vermilion campus, so like the rodeo club, those kinds of things. There's like an Enviro one. Like I said, you're more than welcome to join them if you'd like. For example, I was part of the rodeo club when I went to school here. It was great. My dad packed up my horse. I met him in Vermilion. I got on. He usually had it saddled. I was conveniently maybe a little late. I usually had it saddled, and then I'd unsaddle and say see you later, and he had to go home and put it away. So it was a pretty good option. Obviously, if you're not from Vermilion or your family's not close, that's probably not going to work. But you could leave your horse on campus in Vermilion. Most students would then choose to stay in Vermilion and drive to Lloyd for their school. We do have the LGBTQ+ Alliance Club on both campuses that run. That's probably the main one, as well as Speaker's Corner that runs here on our campus. If you have a club idea, you can definitely start it. The bookstore, that's where you're going to get your Lakeland merch, snacks for later, because they're open later than our cafeteria, as well as your textbooks. So the CAF is only open for breakfast and lunch. They can be a little bit pricier. Their daily meals are cheaper. So definitely if you're living on campus or something like that, walking home to make yourself lunch or supper or whatever is generally a better deal. But I will say the cafeteria has some awesome sunlight, so a lot of students will do their group projects or studying down there. So the Commons is a big one. If you had accessibility, so that is our library. If you had extra time, a reader, a note taker in high school, you can get those same services with us through our accessibility advisor, Tammy. If you maybe have some exam anxiety, maybe you want some tips and tricks on how to do better at multiple choice questions, maybe you want to learn how to study better, then our learner success strategist, Karen, is a great help. We do share her with Vermilion, so she's not on our campus all the time, but you can text, call her, and set up an appointment. Ben is our librarian. He is awesome for good resources. So if you have to write an essay or anything like that, he can help you find really good resources, whether it's online or the books. He can also make sure that you're properly citing the materials that you found to make sure that you're not going to get hit for plagiarism. We have a full-time psychologist, Chantel, on our campus. We share the wellness advisor, Sarah, with the Vermilion campus, but she's doing lots of different activities. She does Q&A about wellness. She did a big clue game for us. She set up cooking with Agisto, who is our head chef in Vermilion. He's Italian, if you couldn't tell by his name. And so he's kind of fun to learn from. You can learn some new Italian recipes, but essentially overall health and wellness for her. Shelley is our Indigenous support manager. So she runs all of our Indigenous events, TP Raising, Orange Shirt Day, our Awareness Week. We share her with Vermilion as well. And she's also kind of the faculty advisor for the Aboriginal Student Advisory Committee. For the more, or peer tutoring, so you can get tutoring for up to 2 courses for free, which is great. So, and on the other hand, if you're doing really well in a course, you can actually get paid to essentially study for a course, which is awesome. So there's 3D printer, there's computer, study room, scanner, printer, all access in the commons. Next, I'm going to stop screen sharing, and we're actually going to play a Kahoot. So hopefully you were paying attention, and I am going to give you, well, I'm going to stop screen sharing my PowerPoint, I guess, and screen share the Kahoot. But I will, yeah, I'll just do that, and then I will talk about who you can contact until May. I'll ask if you guys have any questions, and then I will stick around. We're going to do a quick survey, and then I will stick around. So if anyone has questions that they want to ask afterwards or anything like that, you are more than welcome to ask. So I am going to share the Kahoot. So I'm going to ask that you go to kahoot.it. While I bring up the... Okay. So hopefully you can see my, yeah, it's actually best if you do use the app on your phone. Sorry, I should have said that. Great question. So yes, it is good if you use it on your phone. The questions should also display on your computer if you're doing it that way. But it is best if you kind of log in using your phone, because that way then you can kind of see the questions on the board or on the screen, and then as well as answer it on your phone. Gillian or Jillian, do you have a question? You have your hand up. Nate's had his up the whole time. I don't know if you have a question either. Oh, no, we're good. Am I waiting for anyone else? You can put your hand up quick, or has everyone joined? Okay, let's start. So security is on campus 24/7. Is that true or false? So as you know, the faster you answer, the better, essentially. Perfect. Most of you got it correct. So they are here 24/7. If at any point you get kicked out accidentally or anything like that, the gain pin is down below. So we've got Haley on top, and Isaac and Kennedy are close seconds. So our next question. Which university no longer has equity seats for Alberta students wanting to do vet med? Is it USask or University of Calgary? So it is the University of Saskatchewan. U of C will only accept Alberta residents. So, ooh, We've got a whole new set of top 3. Next question. What year was Lakeland established? I did not talk about this, so we're going to test your knowledge. We are over 100 years old, as a little hint, if you haven't answered yet. So, Lakeland College on the Vermilion campus was started back in 1913. So there was a select few that got that one right. That was a really tough question. What is our team name for our athletics? Rowdies, Wrestlers, Ravenclaws, Gryffindors. Ooh, I didn't trick anyone. Everyone got it right. Wrestlers are our team. Ooh, Nate has a 4 correct answer streak. 3 more questions. You are guaranteed admission into university if you transfer from Lakeland. Is that true or false? So that is false. I wish it was true. I really do, but you are not guaranteed admission. We will do our absolute best that we absolutely can, but unfortunately, we just can't. You need to make sure that you're meeting all the other requirements. So Nate is still holding strong. So what are some subjects that we offer here? Yeah. So English, nutrition, and Soc, history, and psych are also correct. Unfortunately, we do not have a course in coloring. And if you haven't noticed yet, I do like Harry Potter. And so I throw in a couple of Harry Potter references. So what are some of the services that the Commons provides? So counseling, accessibility, and peer tutoring. Peer tutoring and accessibility are also there, but unfortunately, no one can teach you about wand making. So I kind of trick you and I put it in the middle. And last question, who gets in first? A 90% or Chad with 75 and work experience? Yeah, so work experience, higher averages don't really matter in terms of getting admitted to us here at Lakeland. So if Leah applied first, she's in. If Chad applied first, he's in, because they both are higher than 50%. So let's just see. Okay, so we've got Tyra in 3rd place. Avery in 2nd. And Dawson on top. Awesome, guys. Okay, so I have written all of them down. If you've applied, I should be able to find you and send you a little something. If you haven't applied, I'm going to give you a couple of emails or contacts. Just get them, email them, and let them know. I will let them know that you're going to be emailing. Again, if you've already applied, I can probably find you, but if you just want to be sure, just email the next 2 contacts, and we will make sure that you get a little prize. So I'm going to stop sharing this and reshare my PowerPoint. Okay, so these are the two contacts. So if you have, now I've lost my chat. Where'd it go? There we go. So if you have any questions, you can email or text or call Shania or Keely. Shania was a past university transfer student. She was also a past athlete for us. So she's a great contact, but so is Kaylee. So again, if you were one of my prize winners, so Tyra, Avery, Dawson, if you haven't applied and you don't think I'm going to be able to find you in our system, please email one of them and let them know that you were the winner, and they will get in touch with me and we'll get you your prize sent. So I'm just going to do a quick little survey. So you can go to bit.ly/UT-day21. You can also use the QR code. So if you don't mind filling that out, it's just great for me to kind of know things that I maybe missed. Maybe I went too fast, things like that. And then if anyone has any questions, this is your chance to put it in the chat and I'll answer it to everyone. If you want to unmute yourselves, you can also do it that way. But essentially, we've got 20 minutes. And obviously, if questions take longer, I will stay longer. But if anyone has any program-specific questions or anything like that, please feel free to put it in the chat now while you're filling out the quick survey, or you are also more than welcome to leave. I'm going to stop recording at this point, and then go from there.